The key card beeps as you steal into my hotel room, as if I can't hear you. I don't move, nor do I open my eyes as you approach the bed. Your nervousness is palpable, your breathing loud in the hush of the dark. Stopping at the foot of my bed, you don't move any closer for a moment, as if you're waiting to be dismissed. Only a few months ago, I would have. You and I were never friendly in any sense of the word, widely known as opposing forces on the same side. As head of risk and compliance, my job is to keep us from stepping in shit when we release a product. As COO, it's felt like your job has been to shove it out the door anyway if it suits your timeline. We've never seen eye to eye, and the firefights have been intense. You don't want to be wrong. I don't want to be disobeyed. What a pair we make. You whisper my name, tapping my foot. I don't answer right away, choosing instead to roll onto my back slowly. Rubbing sleep from my eyes, I notice there's faint light peeking around the large, darkening curtains in the room. I look to my right and see the dim numbers on the bedside digital clock. It's just past 5 in the morning. I sit up onto my elbows and stare up at you, waiting for you to explain why you're here. You're wearing an oversized shirt I bought from a thrift store as a joke. The words on the front say, "Built to serve, not to last," in bold lettering. Your swallow is loud in the quiet, and a breathy laugh follows it as you scratch behind your ear. Still whispering, you ask if you can get in. I don't answer, waiting for the magic word. Over the years, you've lost the art of asking for things politely, power weaved into every interaction. It isn't unearned. You do your job better than any other I've encountered. Your command of a room is unparalleled. Your presence is polarizing. Your finger is on the pulse of every operation, and almost nothing escapes your notice. When the darling of HR, Darlene, fires someone, it's known who really commissioned it. So only when you follow your request with a please do I motion for you to come. You crawl onto the bed, and I flip the covers back to allow you in. You try to face me, but I don't allow it, flipping you until your back is to me. I grip your chin with a hand, keeping you from turning your head to me. You hold onto my wrist softly, freezing and understanding. Your voice is thin when you ask if I'm upset with you. 2 taps to the side of your jaw give the answer. Yes. I was, and still am, seen as the resistance. The only one in the office to ever oppose you publicly and win. We still maintain that dynamic for others, not wanting to let them into our personal lives. But now, I only truly resist you when I want you to watch out for yourself. The closer we've gotten, the more I've seen why you're so fierce. Incompetent men undermining your every decision and opinion have forced you to double down and bulldoze. The CEO has learned his lesson, but not our chief financial officer, Edward. A traditional man at best, and a horrid misogynist at worst, he pokes and prods at you whenever given the chance. Most times, you're able to maintain your composure. However, there are times when you stoop to his level. Whenever possible, I refuse to let you undercut your credibility by careless emotional jabs in his direction. Sometimes you listen. Other times, you let out a held breath, stroking the exposed part of my arm. I wonder who you're really soothing. Your body relaxes against mine, as you ask if I hate you. You always check, as if the answer will change. I suppose, with others, it has before. I tap your jaw once. No. You apologize then, citing overwhelming anger as the reason you rose to the bait Edward laid out before investors yesterday. He'd lobbied question after question at you, throwing dirt, close to insulting your intelligence outright. And the meeting started to turn into your worst nightmare. Your spine stiffened, you began licking your lips nervously, and your breathing became shallow. You were getting buried, and I could sense helpless fury bubbling up inside you. I did what I could to rein you in, tapping the glass conference table with my pen to grab your attention, just enough for you to hear. When you looked over to me, I saw the concealed panic in your eyes. I began to sign to you, but when Edward made another inflammatory remark, you didn't ignore it. You fired back, and the witty remark hit its target, causing the room to laugh at Edward's expense. When your gaze swung back to mine, I signed for you to stop, my hands low enough that only you saw. But when Edward said something else, you pursed your lips and promptly ignored me. Your entire demeanor changed, and you became the woman I used to hate with a passion. We needed a break badly. I didn't technically have the authority to call for a break, not with the others. But with you, I cleared my throat and gave you the sign for pause when you looked at me, right index finger placed over the top of my left and pulled up sharply. When you'd shaken your head, I raised an eyebrow at the response. You needed a break, but your stubbornness was blinding you. When I caught your attention and did it again sharply, I followed it with a couple of taps to my ear. Listen. The men talking were too oblivious to notice. Except for Edward. His eyes were trained on you. I didn't like the way he was looking at you. Little men with big egos. It's a dangerous combination. And I could almost see the gears in his mind turning, planning to hit you where it would hurt the most. Your pride would convince you that you could withstand another attack. But I quickly determined that was not the case. Only when I signed the word for punishment did you take me seriously. You halted the conversation with grace, and others groaned in appreciation, needing some respite. But when I stood to exit too, you looked at me in apology and concern. You overstepped a boundary. Now, you hopefully ask if the punishment, a night separate from each other, is over. 2 taps. Yes. I loosen my hold on your face and fingerspell kitten close to your face, so you can see it in the dim light. You let out a small noise of relief. What began as a joking play on the moniker, the Lioness, became a way to signal that you and I were okay. You didn't have to be on guard anymore. You didn't have to roar any longer. You murmur that you could have done better yesterday, and I tap your cheek twice again. You could have, and we're both aware of that. But what's done is done. And I overheard an investor comment on how he liked your ferocity. I fingerspell to you that it's over. There's no need to feel bad any longer. You want to face me, so I drop my hand from your chin and you turn. Burying your face in my chest, you throw an arm over my waist and clutch the back of my shirt. Your voice is muffled as you state that I smell good, and I smile as I tap your back twice. Yes, I do. How we ended up here, how we realized we were kindred spirits, still astounds me. One day, the veil between us just lifted. You cannot roll out this product. New FTC guidance is strict, and we must comply. Not to mention, it doesn't comply with the California Privacy Rights Act. My interpreter, Ava, is fast with her translation, almost translating ahead of what I've signed. The data collection process is flawed, and you cannot turn a blind eye to it. Ava translates, eyeing my hands. If we launch, You cut Ava's words short. The board was promised a fourth quarter launch, and you intend to keep that promise. I signal for Ava to cut you off in return, and like the good friend she is, Ava's tone conveys my frustration as if it's hers. If we launch, she stresses again, there is a high risk of federal investigation. How will the board feel if we get hit by penalties that exceed the product's first-year revenue? You lean forward in your chair, bracing your forearms on the desk in front of you. Though Ava is translating, you direct your comments at me. Our eyes hold each other's. You state that you will personally ensure that it is fixed in the first update, but you are not willing to miss this window. I step forward, wishing my own voice worked. I will not sign off on the certification. Without it, you can't go to the board. Or you can, and explain why my signature is missing. I'm sure they'll be very interested to hear what I say. You don't miss the chance to take a cheap shot, remarking that it would be Ava they'd be hearing. My heart rate spikes, and I can feel the heat creep up my neck. I sign furiously. Yes, Ava can explain why the COO has decided to put profit over compliance and risk reduction. She can also explain that you're a... Ava almost tumbles into the word and stops herself short, wide eyes swinging to look at me. You ask what Ava was going to say, eyes bouncing between her and me. I sign to Ava that she should say it, and she raises her eyebrows. She's got that look in her eye, signaling to me that she won't do as I ask. She can, also explain that you're argumentative, Ava says. I roll my eyes and grab my binder off your desk. I sign that I'm leaving, not caring if Ava translates. You and I aren't strangers to this dance. I push, and you push harder, until one of us gives in, or looks foolish for not doing so. Your aggressiveness serves you well in your position. My caution serves me well in mine. Reaching my office, I throw the compliance binder on the faux wood desk, sinking into my office chair. Pushing through the next hour with a headache, I glance at the notification when it alerts me that I have a new email. The subject line catches my attention and sends a thrill through me. Subject: Updated launch timeline. But when I open the email and see 6-week delay, I frown. That is not enough time for us to address privacy and compliance concerns. I close my eyes and take a deep breath. It's you relenting without truly doing so. I send you a private message saying that 6 weeks is not enough time. I see the chat tag change from delivered to read, but I receive no response. Gritting my teeth, I decide not to react at the present moment. Other things deserve my attention than your power play. Before I know it, my computer is telling me it's well after 5 o'clock, and the coffee machine in the break room calls my name when a yawn arrests me. The cubicles just beyond my desk are dark, security lights making the maze of workspaces glow. I walk through, turning the corner, when I spot your office light on through the cracked door. I intend to move past, only sparing a glance at the crack in the door. But when I register what I saw, I promptly back up. Peering around the door jamb, I eye you through the crack. You're watching something on your computer screen intently. It only takes a few seconds to recognize it as a braid tutorial, partly because you're trying to imitate the style on your own very straight hair. Your attempt is abysmal, and I look on in disbelief. It's not every day I see incompetence at something I'd consider simple. Out of frustration, you groan, detangle the braid, and begin again. I watch you try again. When the next attempt is a failure, you let the hair slip from your fingers and put a hand to your forehead, as if you're praying for patience. Something about the display of weakness makes me knock. You look up sharply as I push open the door and lean a shoulder against the doorframe, crossing my arms. Composing yourself, you let your hair down again, shaking it out. You ask how you can help me, and I raise my eyebrows. My gaze lands on a stack of Post-it notes sitting on your desk. I push off from the frame, stride in, and grab the stack and a nearby pen. Why didn't you answer me earlier? I show you the note, and your jaw sets. You reply that you don't owe me an explanation. You've already conceded moving the time frame. What more could I want? I restate my earlier position. 6 weeks isn't enough time. You smirk and tell me to have a little more faith in our product and engineering team. I roll my eyes. They had over a year to do this. You want me to believe that another 6 weeks will iron out every single issue? You read the note and sigh. Apparently, I should be happy that you even considered my request. The phrasing of the statement makes my anger flare. I write quickly, then thrust it in your face. It isn't a damn request. It is my job, and yours. It's moments like these that I wish I could yell, shout, curse, everything my now mute voice used to be able to do. Your eyes stare at the note. Then your eyes raise to mine. I can see the defiance setting in, and it's confirmed only moments later when you say that I am making your job harder. You then stand and lean toward me with your hands pressed to the desk, getting as close as you can with the barrier between us. Your tone is low as you remind me that I report directly to you. I write without even looking down at the paper, my pinky finger keeping track of where I am. Then I throw it up between our faces. Are you working your way to a threat? You may be able to intimidate others, but that behavior has never and will never work with me. I tear off the previous note, uncaring where it lands, and follow it up. My job doesn't lie within your jurisdiction. You purse your lips, opting not to answer. You sit back down and point to the door, telling me to get out of your office, refusing to look at me anymore. I stare at you a second longer, clenching and unclenching my jaw. Flicking off the top sticky note, I write another and throw it down in front of you. When you catch sight of it, surprise flits across your face, and you look up. Your hair looks like shit. I throw the letter B up to my chin, as I did earlier, and storm out of your office, completing my journey to the coffee machine. When I return to my office, there's already a private message notification flashing on my desktop. When I see it's from you, I don't open it. I clear the notification and move on with my work. A few minutes later, another pops up, and my nose flares in irritation. I cut my eyes at the monitor, the urge to click it rising. I ignore it and return to the dense page in front of me, until a third pops up. I finally give in. Can you come back here? Please. Okay, can you come back here, please? Something about it makes me rise with a sigh. And when I appear at your office door a few moments later, your face is different, more resigned, more hurt. Your voice is quiet as you ask if I've really been calling you a bitch this entire time. I raise an eyebrow and move toward your desk. Picking up the pen and pink notes, I write, "How did you figure it out?" You give a wry smile and point to your monitor. "Google." I shrug. "Well, sorry." The smile stays on your face as you tell me I don't really mean that. I write underneath, "No, I don't." You nod and swallow. I don't have to stay. You just wanted to understand. I'm not the first to call you that, and I won't be the last. The words spur me to ask, so why be one then? You roll your eyes. You're not trying to be one, but you have a job to do, like everyone else in this office. Just as I fight to do mine, you fight to do yours. Every product is just a well-calculated risk on what will work and make the masses and investors happy. You admit that you don't always get it right, but your track record speaks for itself, and this is who you've had to become to achieve those results. My hands sign on autopilot, and confusion washes over your face. I huff and grab the paper again. So this is not who you are? You laugh and wave a hand in the air. You are sometimes, but less often than I think. I cross my arms, considering you for a moment. I, personally, have never seen another side to you. Of course, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Jutting my chin at your monitor, I ask what you're doing. You frown as you watch my hands again, then guess what I signed. When I nod that you've gotten it right, your face brightens. Then it dims again when you explain. You have an important dinner tomorrow night, and you're trying to do something different with your bone-straight hair. I ask what you're trying to do, then motion for you to show me. When you don't understand, I sigh and reach past you, tapping your keyboard spacebar to play the video. I watch carefully, immediately understanding what you'd like to do. Moving behind you, I take your hair into my hands, finger combing any remaining knots. I spot a desk mirror next to the monitor, lean over to drag it closer, angling it so we can both see each other. You look up without comment, and I do my best to explain without words. I hold up each piece as I use it, showing where I pulled it from and which direction it should twist. Midway through, I can tell I've lost you. I smirk and keep moving without explaining any further. The style is difficult on straight hair with no gel or hair product, and you finally pick up on that. I nod. Then I peek at you in the mirror and pretend to spit on my hands. It pulls a genuine laugh out of you, and my smile widens. When it's all done, I part my hands above your head and bow slightly, indicating I'm finished. You lean toward the mirror and study the style, a smile growing on your face. Swiveling to face me, your expression becomes a bit sheepish, and you scratch behind your ear. My eyebrows raise when you ask me to do it again tomorrow. You know you'll mess it up. I think about saying no just to mess with you, but a better thought pops up. I pick up the pen and paper. Say please. Your brows furrow and you look at me as if I've just asked you to do something immoral. So I push. Beg for my help. You rear back and point to yourself, repeating what I've just written. I nod. Yes, I want you to beg for my help. You give an incredulous laugh, but I can hear the twinge of trepidation. You're not doing that. I shrug, toss the pad of notes down, and start to walk away. I hear you shoot up from behind your desk, and you call up for me to wait. I turn and give you an expectant look. Your face tinges pink as you ask why I want you to beg. I point to my chest, and then sign, putting the letter B to my chin. A giggle escapes you, and I decide I like the sound. I wave a hand, telling you to go on, and you roll your eyes. However, you clasp your hands together, come to stand in front of me, and with a saccharine smile, beg me to help you tomorrow. I move closer, feeling a bit smug, and tip your chin up with a finger. I have the feeling I could push this even further if I wanted to, but deciding not to, I tap your chin twice and nod. I'll do it. And instead of backing up from my hand, you remain close, eyes crinkling with another smile. Your teeth snag your bottom lip for a beat. Then you thank me softly. A million things could be said. A dozen things could be written. And a question wants to worm its way out. What just changed here? Instead of asking, though, my eyes search your face briefly. I tap your chin again, sign tomorrow, then wave goodbye. And the next day, I swear that'll be the end of our temporary truce. When you text me late that night to tell me others love the hairstyle, I give you a cheering face. You ask me to do other styles so you can have some variety in your life, so I merely offer to teach you how to braid. But you decline. You'd rather I do it. I text back that it'll cost you. You send a smirking emoji and say you don't mind paying for it. What if it's more begging? You send an emoji of a small yellow lady on her knees, and I laugh out loud. The next day, I visit your office before the workday begins and give you a braided bun. And the day after, and the day after that, and again the day after that. I stop asking if I should come, and you stop requesting. One day, you hint at being sick and coming in anyway, and I tell you to stay home. You protest, but I won't hear it. I don't think you'll listen, but push anyway, telling you to retract your clause for a day. Suddenly, you send a saluting emoji, followed by a "Yes, ma'am." I stare at my screen, wondering if I should touch that. Does it mean what I think it does? What do I want it to mean? I consider not replying, but that might make you self-conscious. My automatic reply to something like that itches to escape. Dare I indulge the impulse? Good girl. I hold my breath, waiting for you to respond. You heart the message, then inform me that you're dragging yourself into bed to pass out. I let out a breath of relief. 2 days later, you're back in your leather seat, composed as ever on a video conference. The glint in your eye is dark and apparent, even behind your glasses. I know why. HR and legal have already counseled you on language to avoid a wrongful termination suit. You've reviewed my investigative summary on the case, every email, every altered spreadsheet, and whistleblower testimonies. Paul Douglas, Division President of the Midwest region, falsified inventory numbers to meet quarterly targets. If he hadn't done so, yes, he would have gained your disapproval and an extensive review. But now, he's provoked your wrath. You wield it with professionalism, detailing each false step taken. I watch the moment Paul realizes this isn't just a quarterly review. First, he tries righteous indignation. Then, he goes for partial honesty. But once he sees it isn't gaining him any traction, he moves to the blame game, somehow blaming you for heavy workloads and ambitious quarterly goals. It's the first time I've looked at things from your perspective. What Paul did is objectively wrong, but in the past, I would have also tried to find fault with you. When it devolves, Paul snaps that the guys in our office have always said you're sexy, but so frigid they're afraid their would freeze and fall off. The malicious insult makes me jerk, and Darlene gasps loudly. My hands immediately begin moving, and Ava's voice follows. Absolutely not, Paul. You will not. Ava is suddenly muted, and I ball my hands in frustration. You gloss right over the insult, instructing Paul that he will have an hour to collect his belongings and exit the office. Security will be there to escort him. After the call, I stalk to your office. You're already prepared for my unannounced entrance, perched on your desk with crossed arms. I grab the small whiteboard and marker that appeared after our 5th braid appointment. That pissed me off. You nod. You could tell. You put your hand to your chin and quickly move it outward, thanking me for trying to step in. But, you explain, it isn't my place. I can be angry for you, with you, at you, whatever I want, but never let it show in front of others. If I want a change of action or to say something specific, then I should alert you privately. But you don't need me to save you. You ask if I understand, and a part of me wants to immediately respond no. I clench my jaw, looking past you and out of the large window. Boundary met and respected. I sign back, okay, fine. You meet mine a few days later. I'm braiding your hair into a long fishtail, but we're arguing yet again about the product launch. I feel it's important to disable a function until it's brought into compliance. You disagree, saying that it rides a line, but it's perfectly legal. I keep stopping to write, and it's frustrating me. You're picking up a fair amount of American Sign Language, and it warmed my heart to find you here late one evening, practicing. We communicate using the desk mirror when I'm behind you, and you sign as you speak to practice. But your knowledge is not enough for this conversation. Finally, I throw the whiteboard down and sign that this conversation is finished. I don't want to talk about it anymore. You roll your eyes and throw a B to your chin carelessly. And that does it. I spin your chair while keeping a hand in your hair, yanking your head back so you're forced to look up at me. With my other hand, I fingerspell what, so there's no confusion. Then I wait for you to sign it again. Your eyes are wide, your mouth parted as you remain silent. My grip in your hair tightens a touch, and I ask again. A part of me wonders if this is too far, if I'm taking a mile where I've only been given an inch. But even as I consider that, I notice your pupils have dilated, and your neck holds no resistance. You drop my eyes, and slowly, your hand creeps up in between us. Your right fist goes to your chest and moves in a circular motion. I'm sorry. My hand falls from your hair, and I draw your attention. I signed something I've never signed before. Good girl. You ask what it means, and I write it on the whiteboard. You smile and ask me to do it again, so you can memorize it. I do, and you grin wildly. I laugh silently and shake out the half-done braid. I'll have to restart it. But I take a moment and sit on your desk directly in front of you, deciding to be serious. I want to ask you something. You nod and invite me to ask. What is this? The question makes the smile on your face vanish. Instead, you purse your lips and after a second, shake your head. You don't know. Then what isn't it? You ask what I mean, so I write a few words. Is this sexual, romantic, an experiment in letting go of control? You look at the board when I flip it around and consider the options carefully. You cross out the first two with a swipe through the ink. Then you run a finger underneath, letting go of control. You clarify that it isn't an experiment. It's simply what you want. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Months became now. A peculiar dynamic. I pet your head, stroking your hair and letting it fall through my fingers. After a while, you groan and roll out of my embrace, remarking that we should probably get ready for our flight back. I glance at the clock, then shake my head. We have time. And I know you need a nap before returning to normal life. You never sleep well when you're in trouble. I tell you as much with my hands, and you slap a hand over your eyes, your version of plugging your ears. I pinch the flesh of your exposed thigh, and you jerk, moving away from me and laughing. You say that I know you too well. The comment fills me with pride, and I pull you back to me, removing the hand from your eyes. Sleep, kitten. I also want an extra hour or so of sleep before meeting the daylight, but it's not until you're nestled against my side, breath deep and slow, limbs limp and relaxed, that I finally close my eyes again.